Well, what they are now is they have a 20% VAT tax, which we're considering to be similar or the same as the tariff.
Caterpillar, the giant that helped build America's highways, powered war machines, and shaped city skylines, just got hit with a shockwave, and it came straight from Donald Trump. In a bold and brutal move, Trump's proposed 200% tariff on companies outsourcing to Mexico has put Caterpillar in the hot seat, threatening to shake its empire to the core. Will this force the company to bring jobs back to the U.S., or is it the beginning of a costly downfall?
This country does not charge tariffs on U.S. goods, so it's not clear what's next for Canada. But Trump now appears to be going after sales taxes, like the GST, or Europe's value-added tax, VAT.
Donald Trump has never been shy about making bold economic moves, and his latest proposal, a 200% tariff on companies outsourcing jobs to Mexico, has sent shockwaves through the manufacturing world. This isn't just a small tweak to trade policy, it's a move that could completely reshape the way American companies do business internationally. Trump's message is clear. If a company wants to benefit from selling in the American market, they need to keep their jobs and factories within the U.S. This proposal is rooted in Trump's long-standing belief that outsourcing is one of the biggest reasons for the decline of American manufacturing jobs. Over the past few decades, many large corporations, including Caterpillar, have shifted parts of their production to countries like Mexico, where labor is cheaper and operational costs are lower. Companies do this to stay competitive. When manufacturing costs are lower, they can sell their products at a better price while maintaining healthy profit margins. But from Trump's perspective, this practice has hurt American workers, as jobs that could be in U.S. factories have instead gone overseas. If this 200% tariff goes into effect, it would create an immediate financial shockwave for any company that produces goods in Mexico and imports them back into the U.S. A tariff this high would essentially make it economically impossible for companies to continue outsourcing without passing on massive price hikes to consumers. The entire purpose of the move is to force businesses to bring manufacturing back to the U.S., where they would need to invest in American labor and facilities to avoid the penalties.
That includes everything. If you build here, you have no tariffs whatsoever. And I think that's what's going to happen. I think our country is going to be flooded with jobs.
For Caterpillar, which has manufacturing plants in Mexico and other international locations, this is a direct threat to their current business model. Caterpillar relies on global manufacturing to keep production costs in check, and a tariff of this magnitude could make their existing system unsustainable. The company would be forced to make tough decisions, either absorb the costs and suffer reduced profits, or pass those costs onto their customers, which could hurt sales and competitiveness. Caterpillar is not just any company, it's one of the biggest names in construction, mining, and industrial machinery. Its equipment has been used in everything from building highways and skyscrapers to helping mine resources that power the global economy. Over the decades, Caterpillar has built a complex global supply chain, which allows it to operate efficiently while keeping costs under control. However, this very strategy is now under attack by Trump's tariff proposal. Like many multinational companies, Caterpillar has manufacturing facilities outside of the U.S., including in Mexico, China, and Brazil. These international factories allow the company to produce equipment at lower costs while still maintaining a strong global presence. By manufacturing parts in different locations and assembling machines where labor is cheaper, Caterpillar has been able to offer competitive pricing while ensuring its products meet high standards. If Trump's tariff is imposed, Caterpillar would find itself in a lose-lose situation. The company would have two main choices, neither of which is ideal. One option would be to absorb the higher costs, which would eat into its profits. This could mean cutting back on innovation, slowing down expansion, or even laying off employees to balance the books. The other option would be to pass these costs onto consumers, which would make Caterpillar's machinery significantly more expensive for businesses that rely on them.
It seems to me a name like a Boeing down 6% or Caterpillar down 8%, those feel like screaming buys to me. Industrials are the worst performers of the year. Materials are right up there with them.
Higher prices could push customers toward Caterpillar's competitors who manufacture their equipment in non-tariffed regions. This means that rather than protecting American businesses, the tariff could actually help foreign manufacturers gain market share, while U.S. companies struggle to adjust. And it's not just Caterpillar that would suffer. Other big-name manufacturers like John Deere would also feel the squeeze, especially since they operate on a similar global model. The situation presents Caterpillar with a huge dilemma. Moving all manufacturing back to the U.S. is not a simple task. Building new factories, hiring a larger American workforce, and dealing with higher wages and operating costs would require massive investments. Even if Caterpillar wanted to comply with Trump's push for reshoring jobs, the transition wouldn't happen overnight. The company would face years of uncertainty, during which competitors might find ways to take advantage of the situation. While Caterpillar is the company directly in the crosshairs of Trump's tariff plan, the ripple effects of this policy would spread far beyond the corporate world. The industries that depend on heavy machinery, agriculture, construction, and infrastructure development would all be affected. And when those industries feel the squeeze, the impact eventually trickles down to the average American consumer. Farmers, in particular, could be among the hardest hit. Agriculture relies heavily on tractors, combines, and other machinery produced by companies like Caterpillar and John Deere. If Caterpillar raises its prices to compensate for the tariffs, farmers will have to pay significantly more for the same equipment. Unlike corporations that can adjust their pricing models, most farmers operate on razor-thin profit margins, meaning that any major increase in costs could put their businesses at risk. And it's not just Caterpillar. John Deere, another American manufacturing giant, also has facilities in Mexico and could face similar tariff penalties. If both companies raise prices, farmers will have no alternative but to either buy expensive new equipment or hold on to outdated machinery. The latter option could lead to lower productivity, more mechanical failures, and ultimately, a reduced food supply. Construction companies would also take a major hit. Caterpillar's bulldozers, excavators, and backhoes are used in everything from building roads to expanding urban centers. If the cost of these machines doubles, the entire industry will feel the pressure. Contractors may delay projects, cut labor costs, or increase prices for new homes and commercial buildings. This could slow down construction growth, impact job opportunities, and make housing even less affordable. In the grand scheme of things, a policy meant to protect American jobs could end up backfiring. Higher equipment costs could lead to higher food prices, more expensive housing, and increased costs for government infrastructure projects. Even companies that don't rely on Caterpillar directly could suffer, as rising costs in construction and farming could affect supply chains and inflation rates. Trump's proposed 200% tariff might seem like a strong move to bring jobs back to the U.S., but there's a serious risk that this could backfire in a big way. Why? Because the global economy doesn't work in isolation. If the U.S. slaps heavy tariffs on companies that manufacture in Mexico, other countries are likely to retaliate with their own tariffs on American-made products. Think about it. Countries like China, Germany, and Canada all have major trade relationships with the U.S. If they see America aggressively taxing imports from Mexico, they might decide to respond by imposing higher tariffs on American exports. This could hit Caterpillar hard because a huge chunk of their business comes from international markets. Caterpillar sells machinery all over the world, and if foreign governments start making it more expensive to buy American-made equipment, customers might look elsewhere. So, what are your thoughts on this? Let us know in the comments below.